Good day everyone and welcome to another video. Today I have something special for you. It's a long forgotten secret, if you will, and it only has three words: Microsoft, anti-malware, and it's free. If you would like to learn how to use this tool and how to get it, please stick around. Everybody wants to have a healthy PC, and luckily for people that are using Windows, you have the Windows Defender pre-installed, which is a great tool. It's performing very well. However, if a threat artist will want to get access to your PC or files that you have on your PC, of course they can do so. And if you know a little bit about cybersecurity, the easiest way to spot those threat actors or unwanted malware is to actually go to the kernel level and to find the threads as you do with Task Manager. So what I will be showing you today, it will help you identify those unwanted programs that might have landed on your PC by browsing some dodgy sites or by clicking on ads, and it will help you understand if there is a threat or not without spending any money, of course. So the tool is named CIS Internal Suite, and you can get it from Microsoft official website. I will show you in a little bit. What you will have to do is download the CIS Internal Suite, the first one, and after you download it, you will need to extract it. And inside the folder, you will have a bunch of programs. Now, as you can see, you have a selection of programs. The simple ones are for 32-bit operation systems, and the 64, the ones ending on 64, are for the 64-bit. So we will use the 64-bit, and we will start with auto run. And you will always have to run as administrator. Once this window pops up, you can make it bigger, and you have a bunch of options as for everything, as in everything running at any given time on your PC, or anything that is running on Logon, Explorer, Internet Explorer, scheduled tasks, services, drivers, codecs, boot executable. So here on the boot section, if you have a malware, you will have a view with a red stripe that will show you that it's a potential harmful software running on your system. But I will show you how to filter everything. You have those three icons here. So you can hide Microsoft entry, so any software that is related to Microsoft, like OneDrive, Edge, Office, and whatnot. You can click on this and hide it. The same you can do with Windows entries, which are Windows system executables. And of course, we can hide VirusTotal. By the way, this comes with VirusTotal. And as you can see on my example here, everything here looks pretty clean. But we are looking for at least one that has a score. So you see this one, it's a Google Update Service and it has a red marker. If I click on that, it will show me that it's a Trojan lazy and is reported by only one virus database, while everything else is clean. So not only that you are able to check where the detection is coming from, which databases are used, So this one is a Chronix, but we have from Alibaba, AVG. I think we have Signet as well, Asset, McAfee. So the database is quite huge, and this will most likely show you everything that you need to know when it comes down to a thread. So closing this down and going back to our software, you can see we have a lot of other colors as in yellow, and those are white, but the reason it's black on mine is because I've chose to run the dark mode on my Windows. That being said, on the Explorer, everything looks clean. You will obviously have to play around a little bit with the tool to get comfortable using it. But what I suggest is to run it on a VM and actually go to a website that it's notoriously known for having or carrying malwares. This way you will be able to protect your actual PC. Next tool will be Process Monitor, and we will open it up the same way we did, but first let's close this one. The same way we did the previous one, so run as administrator. And here we have a list of all the processes that are currently running. Let's spread it a little bit to have a clearer view. And this is very similar to the one you have on your task manager. So if you go to your task manager and you go to processes, actually is the first tab, processes, it will show you what it's running at any given moment. However, on this one, since it's more detailed, you could jump to the individual process and it will take you on the registry editor exactly where you need to make changes if you need to make changes. But other than that, it's also a good tool to monitor certain unwanted softwares that you could, in theory, detect with autorun and then try to find the root with the process monitor, which will help you to identify faster. And obviously, if your Windows Defender will not uh, take action to quarantine said threat, you can do it manually from here. And the same as the previous tool, you have a bunch of options here that you can filter out. So you can show registry activity. So right now we are looking only at the registry key, which includes drivers. You have Chrome, you have, if you have other software, you will be able to see here Steam. So everything that is installed and running, even in the background, you will be able to see it here. Actually, my bad, they were all turned on. So right now, okay, so if your list is populated, make sure you uncheck all those tabs and then you can start over by clicking the desired, let's say, operation that you want to perform. So we left off at network activity. We'll click that tab and it should filter all the network activity, telling us the protocol, so TCP or UDP, or both in some cases. And of course, it will show us which programs are sending data over. And of course, if you find something that you do not recognize, then you might have a virus that is or malware that is affecting your system. You can, of course, include, exclude certain processes because we all know svc host.exe, it's Microsoft, it's Windows, and it could create a confusion for somebody that is not, let's say, Windows literate or never had to deal with finding the proper task manager, not the proper, but the basic task manager and do an end task and maybe seeing that, okay, I have an issue, something is messing up my resources, and then you'll find a bunch of like task manager. That being said, let's have a look at another tab. Actually, we've seen a bunch of them, but this one was not clear. So we have the process and thread activity. And it should load. And we did have a look at it, and when I explain about the IDs, thread IDs that you can Google, the kernel time, and of course if you have an error it will become red, but I don't think we have even an error on the system. So this is the second tool. And as for our third tool, let's close this out. I will show you a beefed up task manager, like really beefed up. So ladies and gentlemen, meet the father of this little guy. So I'm gonna say it again for everybody that is new or just heard about malwares and want to avoid or want to scan. With this tool, you will be able to kill any process that you deem to be suspicious. Now, of course, a rule of thumb, and what I've discussed on the second tool, on the monitor, you see, it will already tell you that with a red color that this is something that it's eating up a lot of resources. It may not seem this way because it's 0.01, but it's still marked red. And why is that, you may ask? Well, this tool was developed back in the Windows XP age, and it evolved as the iterations of Windows started to propagate. But since the first detections and color coding was done on Windows XP or even Windows 2000, they remain with the same color code. So this might be a thread if it's not svc host.exe. But if you have a thread, a software that is running on the background, it will be color coded with red. Now, this color code, according to their explanation, could be any program that is running on the kernel level that has critical access to any format or file type that can change permission or delete permission. So obviously this is part of Windows system, but we also have some blue coded ones that are from the motherboard. I have an Asus, so this is the motherboard, so should be fine. I think I've seen NVIDIA here as well. NVIDIA container, it's marked with red, and the other one it's purely white. Well, not white, but black because I'm running the dark theme. And again, we have from the motherboard, again on the kernel level, is the crash defender service, and this has to do when you install the drivers of the any motherboard or graphics card, it will have an executable that runs on the kernel level, which will be obviously put on the system 32 Windows files as opposed to their own NVIDIA or ASUS files. So any driver that you will run, including the ones for third parties, they will have a DLL or a BAT that will be on system 32. Hence, you will be able to see something like this from the motherboard. It's with red, it's on kernel, or maybe it has elevated permission, since hence is red. But we do know for a fact this is our motherboard. And if we scroll down, let's see if we spot something else. AMD, this is most likely the same issue, not the same issue, but the same situation. This is a driver for the CPU, and again, kernel, elevated permission, red. And if you have something that is not from your motherboard, CPU, or graphic card and it's with red, then you have a malware, spyware that has elevated permission and you need to get rid of it. So you can kill the process, you can kill the process tree, you can suspend, you can even create dump, similar to what you would do if you'd have right click. Let's find something that is using some resources. Let's say Steam. So we can go and see only resources. We can end task, but we cannot do much more on this baby task manager. So this is a tool that will help you identify, and if you are on IT that it's working an IT help desk, and I remember when I started 3 years ago, and we had our team leader telling us, "Hey, if you have a client, or we call it client in IT world, but it's a user. If you have a user that might have downloaded something um, and it's suspected to be a malware, you will download malware bytes or any other form of a scanner that is free for 30 days. You will do the process of scanning the computer and then you will write your report. This was for clients or users that were on the, let's say, lower echelon of the company, where they wouldn't spend money for, let's say, license to license a antivirus. And the best tool that you could have used was obviously this one or something similar. But in terms of security, as I mentioned before, Windows Defender actually does a pretty good job. And whoever has a Windows, you are familiar with Windows security. This is a very powerful tool. It was tested even in the cybersecurity sphere, while the rest of the plebs, like you and me, will use the basic one, which is more than enough, to be honest. If you have your mother or father browsing YouTube or watching Netflix, this is more than enough. But if, let's say, you're a small business and you don't want or you don't have the capabilities to buy for a subscription for, let's say, Bitdefender, McAfee, or whatnot, this is a tool that your IT should probably use to identify such issues. With that being said, let's see what else we have. There are a bunch of other tools that you could run. This is for VMs, so if you have Hyper-V installed on your PC or your server, you could use this one to create 4 instances of this desktop without you actually trying to set up manually everything. If you already have one, and I got a error because it's trying to launch a 32 even though I run as administrator the 64 one. Cannot find the file specify. Okay. So it will not open, but that's kind of the gist of it. If you have it, you will be able to use it. There are other tools that honestly I didn't have time to go over all of them because the theme of the video was to present you those 3 tools that are free from Microsoft, which will help you identify threads on the kernel level and get rid of them. Now, if you find this video useful, please leave a like and share it with your friends if you have friends that might find this video useful. And thank you once again. See you next time.